If you're watching this video on the day of release, then there should be about 1 month until Schrodinger's 134th birthday. To celebrate this, I have created Schrodinger's Malphite. By now, I hope everyone's familiar with Schrodinger's cat, and for the uneducated ones that don't know what it is, I'll let this short bit of TED Ed summarize it for you.
Taking a cat and placing it in a sealed box with a device that had a 50% chance of killing the cat in the next
encounter.
At the end of that
encounter,
he asked, "What is the state of the cat?"
With the explanation of what this build is about, the first assumption that you might have is, wait, no, isn't this just a shitty full AP Malphite? Ew, unzubbed. To that I can assure you, no, it's not a shitty full AP Malphite, which only has one useful ability, his ult. Nor is it a full tank Malphite, which again only has one functional ability, his ult. Instead, it's gonna be both an assassin and a tank, meanwhile also being a heaping pile of hot garbage. It just depends on who opens the box. Because it's gonna be a heaping pile of garbage, or an assassin tank hybrid, this build should be played mid. Think of it as a Akali, but not nearly as awful. And now that everyone knows that this is not some dogshit generic Malphite build, I present to you Schrodinger's Malphite. And again, as always, with any complicated champions, I'll be going through their abilities with you. Malphite's passive, a literal fucking rock. If you thought Malphite's kit simple, and that you know everything, I can again assure you that you don't, as the literal fucking rock has 3 parts, because it's Schrodinger's Malphite. First, a literal fucking rock grants Malphite a shield every few seconds for 10% of his maximum health. This part of his passive is absolutely worthless to the build. Second, a literal fucking rock passively increases Malphite's size based on how much armor he has. This part of his passive is again absolutely worthless to this build. Third, when you have at least 1 point in W, and a literal fucking rock's passive shield is unbroken, your armor increases by 10 to 30% based on W rank. This part of his passive, unlike the other two, is actually useful to the build. And you felt Malphite was a simple champion because he was released on 2009. Malphite's Q, Mini Rammus. Summons a Mini Rammus that charges at the enemy, dealing magic damage and stealing a portion of their movement speed. This is your main laning tool, so be sure to learn it at level 1 and forget about it. Be sure to cast this ability on cooldown. Doing this will allow you to whittle the enemy into depression. Malphite W, Old Titanic Hydra. The active is the same as Old Titanic Hydra, resetting his auto attack timer and empowering the next auto attack, dealing approximately a metric ton of damage. Or in Imperial units, it will be around the same damage that the US dealt to the indigenous people, so be sure to max this ability first for the raw damage it provides. Malphite E, it reduces the enemy's attack speed and deals approximately the same damage as his W. Max this ability second, as its damage is slightly lower than his W. Malphite R, Unstoppable Force. It's a better cluster R as it actually deals damage, and you're also, as the name implies, unstoppable. Therefore, you won't get knocked out of your dash. Overwhelmed yet? Because there's still runes and items. And this is when I shamelessly ask you to drop a sub. While waiting the keystone for now, to stick with the Schrodinger's theme, the runes you're going to be taking are Haze of Blood, so that you can heal any damage that's not blocked by your passive. Then take Ghost Portal, as it basically extends your ward duration by 90 seconds, which is essential for playing mid lane, as it's the center of the map. When you are doing vision and do spot the enemy jungle, ensure to walk over and give him a good spanking. Next, take Ultimate Hunter, as you're playing Malphite, and his only valuable and functional ability is his ult. Then for secondaries, take Mana Flow Band, so you can spam your Q in lane, and again, don't be that non-functional human being that puts more than 1 point in his Q before level 14. Also, pick up Absolute Focus, as your health will never fall between 69 and 1 for more than 5 seconds with this elegantly crafted build. Aside from those, make sure you take the extra attack speed and armor from the little sub-rooms or whatever the fuck they're called. Finally, the keystone will be taking his tail with blades. Now, after hearing that, you're probably thinking what the fuck is this bullshit? Because Schrodinger's Malphite will get popped by any magic damage sources, so if you're laning against a mage, this will allow you to burst him before he bursts you. For summoners, take TP Ignite. As Flash is overrated, I'll be making a guide on how to properly use DP soon. If it's out, then there should be a card on top right corner. Before we get into items, I must establish that this build is for mid lane use only, and should only be played in mid lane, because as a mid laner, you have the god-given right towards your junglers, wolves, and raptors. Start the game off with a Corrupted Fight. Even though you have Mana Flow Band, you're still gonna run out of mana in 2 seconds. On your first bag, buy a boot and as many cloth armor as you possibly can, preferably 4 cloth armor, and later combine to plated steel caps and Randuin's Omen. Then, buy 3 more cloth armor, then trade them in for a Wilderness Mail, and whatever the fuck this item is, and fuse them together to make a person hard. I know they're passive on the stack, but you don't need that fluff. because by now, it should be 16 minutes into a game, and you should be flamed for not having a mythic item, so promptly tell them to fuck off by going to your lane and one-shotting your lane opponent with absolutely no damage items. Then, buy Goggle Stoneplate, as it increases your resistances by 5% for every enemy champion that deals damage to you for a total of 25%. With this, you'll be able to reach 700 plus armor, and giving you 90% physical damage reduction, again, making sure that you will never fall between 69 and 1% health for more than 5 seconds. Therefore, your next item is going to be a Death Stance, because that is the literal only item that gives both healing and armor, and the realization that you only take 35% of the 10% physical damage sources that they deal, will give the enemy teams some great parenting skills and teach them how to abort from a lost cause. Then, pick up a Phantom Dancer, so when your Herald Blades wears off, you don't drop down to a measly 0.7 attack speed. And again, Schrodinger's Malphite is an assassin and should be played as such, so don't fuck around after getting a kill from blowing a rock solid load on someone. Fucking leave, and wait for your Herald Blades on your passive to come up, before you go back in. But again, because you're a tank, you will take absolutely zero physical damage as long as you have your passive up, so be sure to stick around and deal damage, and watch as you out DPS your ADC. Yet again, as you're a heaping pile of hot garbage, you won't get melted by any source of magic damage, no matter how insignificant they are, as you only have one health item and one magic resistance item, in turn putting Schrodinger's in Schrodinger's Malphite, because no one really knows whatever the fuck you are. Meanwhile, giving a new definition to quantum states, and creating a new thing called multi-quantum states. Okay, video's done. Check out my Discord or Twitch if you want to. Link in the description.